What's up, everybody? It's Thursday. Lucy, you tired? How you feeling? You feeling good? There we go. We are approaching the internet, Lucy. Are you excited? The stream's about to be live. There we go. Here we go. We're doing it. Let me just make sure everything's good. And that, yeah, all right. Everything's good. We're doing it. What's up, Karen? How are you? I hope you're doing well. What's up, DCK Punk? Good to see you. All right. I hope everyone is enjoying their Thursday. I hope everyone is doing. I hope you had a good breakfast. I mean, people were weighing in on their favorite breakfast. I mentioned how a raw cucumber really does it for me. That really, not being a big breakfast guy. If you are a big breakfast person, that's probably not your thing. You're probably like, really? That's it? Just a cucumber? Not good enough. Howdy, howdy, poopy cakes. Good to see everybody. So let's jump right into it. So there's an interview that has been circulating over the past day or so that Tulsi Gabbard did on WBUR. And I believe that's an NPR affiliate. And this interview happened on, yesterday. And I'm not going to play the entire interview because it's like 9 minutes long. So we're not going to play the whole thing. But I will say this about the interview before we play the segment that we're going to play. And Hoot Hoot Burns points this out on Twitter. And I think it's an important thing to mention. Most of the interview is pretty bad. Like they rehash a lot of very tired, smear-intended talking points, and she spends most of the interview deflecting them, and they do not set her up very fairly at all. Like the entire intro is just them putting her down, more or less. So, and that's not really a fair and objective interview from a media outlet. But anyway, that all being said, there is a very concerning moment. At least I find it concerning as somebody who supports Medicare-For-All. There is a very concerning moment that she has on Medicare-For-All that calls into question her support of it big time. So, all right, let's play it.
Healthcare, education, infrastructure, protecting our environment.
When you say healthcare, are you for Medicare-For-All? If you can just tick through the list more specifically.
Yes, I prefer to call it Medicare Choice, where we are ensuring quality healthcare for all people, regardless of how little they may have in their pocket or their bank account, while maintaining their freedom of choice. If they've got an employer-sponsored plan or a union-sponsored plan that they're happy with, they should have the opportunity to do so. But the bottom line being that in the wealthiest nation in the world, there is no excuse that we still have far too many Americans who are underinsured or uninsured and who are one healthcare emergency away from total financial disaster.
Yeah. We'll talk about the thing that is.
Okay, that's not Medicare-For-All. What she just described is not Medicare-For-All. Saying if people have an employer-sponsored or a union-sponsored plan they can keep it. Well, that basically refers to the private insurance industry because that's what we have now. That's the status quo now. Once again, Medicare-For-All bans duplicative insurance. So if you have insurance that Medicare-For-All is going to cover, which again, Medicare is going to be more extensive under this plan, so it's going to cover a lot more stuff, then that plan goes away. So the only spot for the private insurance industry, which is how it is in a lot of other countries too, is for elective things that wouldn't be covered under Medicare, something like some kind of cosmetic thing, or you get the idea. Which I'm actually for private insurance not existing anywhere, period, totally. But if there's going to be some kind of marketplace for it for elective stuff, whatever, I can live with that. if we have a system where everybody is covered and we have a single payer system similar to what most of the world takes for granted, most of the industrialized world takes it for granted. If we can have that, if there's some private market for Botox or something, whatever, I can live with that. That's not what she's describing in this interview, saying, well, if you have something, you can keep it. This sounds a lot like the public option nonsense that Joe Biden parrots, that Pete Buttigieg parrots, that Liz Warren is parroting, that Kamala Harris talks about. And that wouldn't work, because you know what it does? It allows the private insurance industry to stay at the table. It allows people to, a lot of people, they might not deviate because they're just going to stick with what they got. So then who are you going to have buying into Medicare? Well, you're mostly going to have sick people and stuff like that. So when you only have sick people, well, a big national poll is not going to work. You need everybody in it. You need the sick people, you need the healthy people, you need the young people, you need the old people, you need everybody. So we all go into the poll. So that way, when you are sick, you're taken care of. And when you're healthy, you're still taken care of. And there's a big focus on preventative care. So maybe you don't get as sick in the future. You focus on preventative care, people get less sick in the future. We don't have actual health insurance in this country. We just have disaster relief, or an attempt at disaster relief. Why? Because there's more money putting someone under the knife, so to speak, for surgery than there is it focusing on preventative care. So we have a system that just pushes preventative care under the rug. Preventative care be damned, and we'll try to help you when you get really sick. And you're probably going to have a bunch of medical bills in the process, and you might go bankrupt. That's the plan we have now. Allowing that status quo to stay at the table would squash any hopes for a universal plan. So, and Medicare for All, again, it bans duplicative insurance. So what she's talking about is not Medicare for All. And when she was asked the distinct question, do you support Medicare for All? She didn't say yes. She said, well, yes, I support. And then she didn't say I support it. She didn't say I support Medicare for All. She said, she started talking about choice. So, and again, if we listen through this entire interview, I'm going to agree with 90% of what Tulsi Gabbard has to say. Well, pretty much everything else. I mean, throughout most of this interview, it's mostly her responding to allegations she's responded to so many times in the past. And, at this point, she has distanced herself from that past. She has a 100% voting record from the HRC, the Human Rights Campaign, not Hillary Rodham Clinton, in case you weren't sure what that meant. That's the leading LGBT group in the country. She has a 100% rating with them, not a 90%, not an 80%, 100%. And still she has to respond to these. And eventually it gets to the point like, look, either you allow a person to change and you make a judgment call that is genuine, or you just don't. And I don't think there's anything less progressive in the world than not allowing somebody to change. So, and again, that was like 80% of the interview, but that doesn't mean when she's asked a direct question on Medicare for All and she gives that kind of answer, that is in any way acceptable. And if that's how she feels, then no, she doesn't support Medicare for All, period. Based on that answer, which she gave a day ago, she does not support Medicare for All. And that's very disappointing, to say the very least. At least from my perspective, that's very disappointing. Tons of candidates in 2020 have waffled on Medicare for All. Tulsi Gabbard is one of the only ones I have a higher bar for. Her, Bernie, Gravel, that's it. Those are the ones I have a higher bar for. Those are the ones I expect better from. And I'm sure she will be saying more about this soon. I'd be shocked if she didn't, knowing who her base is. I'm sure this was very disappointing and disturbing for a lot of people to hear. And they're going to want clarification. They're going to want clarification immediately. Again, I expect this from a Pete Buttigieg. I expect this from a Joe Biden. I expect this from a Liz Warren. I expect this from pretty much everyone who isn't Bernie or Tulsi, more or less. Or, I mean, Gravel's not in the race anymore, so, but I'd expect it from him too. But so it's like Bernie got a group together, and like Medicare for All is like them standing up to the bullies, and they're like, we're gonna stand up, and then and then like one by one the bullies show up and they're like, never mind, and then they turn and then they're just like, and then Bernie's the only one who's like, well, I'm still standing for this. I'm still here. So this is very disappointing from Tulsi Gabbard. Very, very disappointing. And for someone like me, policy always comes first and the individual comes second. As the campaign trail has unraveled, Bernie and Tulsi were the two that I liked. But Tulsi waffling on Medicare for All is not acceptable to me, because Medicare for All is the solution that we need right now for our healthcare crisis. And it is a crisis. It is a crisis. So this is very disappointing. I hope this was just a misstep or a mistake, but I'm not sure I see how it could be. I mean, she was asked directly, do you support Medicare for All? That's the answer she gave. Her words. This was not a setup question. This was not a deflector question or a smear question. Tons of those were in there, but this wasn't one of them. You want to listen to it again? Here, we can listen to it one more time. Because decide for yourself. You heard the same thing I heard.
Are you for Medicare for All? If you can just tick through the list more specifically.
Yes, I prefer to call it Medicare choice, where we are
Medicare
ensuring
choice.
quality health care for all people, regardless of how little they may have in their pocket or their bank account, while maintaining their freedom of choice. If they've got an employer-sponsored plan or a union-sponsored plan that they're happy with, they should have the opportunity to do so. But the bottom line being that...
So there you go. I mean, there you go. It's right there. It's right there. You're hearing the same words I just heard. That's not supporting Medicare for All. Like it's not, we can't even say, well, it doesn't sound like it's like, no, she does not support Medicare for All. The answer to that question that she was just directly asked, do you support Medicare for All? The answer was no. So as of right now, it's fair to say Tulsi Gabbard does not support Medicare for All. So I guess we'll see. I mean, and check out this. As far as other supposed Medicare for All supporters flailing on Medicare for All, this is Hoot Hoot shares this. And here's Liz Warren. Here, hold up. I want to play this video. Here, let me make sure I get the sound up for you, guy. Here's Liz Warren talking Medicare for All. All right, let me get the sound. Doing this in real time, folks.
Right now, what we've got in Medicare for All is a framework.
No, we don't
have the details, and you're right.
Yes, it does.
But the most important part of your asking is to raise awareness so we get this right as we go through it. Can we just stop for a minute, though, and say, right now...
So, the comedian Doug Stanhope, who's a really funny comedian, I recommend checking Doug Stanhope out. Not that Doug Stanhope needs my endorsement. I wish Doug Stanhope would say, hey, check Ron Flacone out. But Doug Stanhope has a very brilliant bit. One of those bits where when you hear it, you're like, oh, damn it, I have a long way to go. One of those types of bits. But he has a brilliant bit on raising awareness and what it really means to raise awareness. And raising awareness is code for talking nice and then not doing anything, which Liz Warren's pretty good at. Liz Warren is pretty good at that. Most politicians are. Most of them are. You know, the longer, and I've said this before, I have been around more politicians in the past 2.5 years as a result of, working with Jimmy on the Jimmy Dore show. I have been around more people in the political realm. I shouldn't even say strictly politicians, but more people in the political realm in the past 2.5 years than I ever have been in my life, the rest of my lifetime combined. It has made me more of a radical. It has given me less confidence than ever before in my lifetime in our system, because I got a peek under the hood. And I will say this, it is one of the most corrupt institutions, our political process, our system. It is the most, rather, why should I say one of the most? It is the most corrupt institution I have ever been around in my lifetime. I am in show business. Show business has more integrity on its worst day than our politics does. And you can quote me on that, by the way. On its worst day, show business has more integrity than our political system. I think what should disqualify somebody from running for office in the first place should be if they want to run for office. That's where I'm at. I think that if you want to run, you're disqualified. You shouldn't be able, hey, I want to run for, okay, no, you're done. Unless now there's something on the local level. I don't think that applies. Not saying corruption doesn't happen on the local level. Of course it does. That's the world we live in. But, somebody wanting to run for city council, something like that. I don't think it applies in a situation like that. But, federal, especially if you're looking to just become a political celebrity, which that's why most people do it. Let's be real. If you want to run, that disqualifies. Yeah, you can't. And there's a comedian named Kate who has a great bit about that when it comes to running for president. And I'm forgetting Kate's last name off the top of my head, which I feel badly about. She has a really brilliant bit about that. But I do think that should be instituted as policy. If you want to run, nope, you can't. You can't run. You can't run. Everybody should just be recruited. They should recruit people. I know that's not going to happen, but that's the way I think it ought to be. And Liz Warren, getting back to this video, said Medicare for All is just some kind of framework. It's just some kind of abstract idea. No, it's a bill. It's a bill with points in it. It's a bill that clearly says what it is and isn't going to do. That's what it is. That's what the bill is that Bernie wrote. And then there's another bill in the House as well. So no, it is a concrete plan. And it bans duplicative assurance. It allows the private insurance industry to exist where there are, for instances, where Medicare for All does not cover certain things. And you can think of a couple of those, for instances, something like a elective surgery or Botox or something like that. I'd like to eventually get the eye thing. I'd like to eventually get LASIK. Chances are that's not going to be covered under a Medicare for All system. Don't quote me on that. I mean, maybe, I don't know every nitty gritty detail, but chances are something like that would be considered elective. I don't need that. I just want it because I want to wake up and not have to put these puppies on to see right in front of my dumb face. So something like that. There might be some kind of private insurance industry situation for that where you put in whatever. And I'd probably buy that, to tell you the truth. I mean, I might be like, hey, I want to get this elective surgery, let me look into this. So anyway, so somebody also points out in the chat that Warren has a bigger cap on meds while Bernie is a clear $200 annually. That's true as well. So no, Liz Warren, Medicare for All is not some just abstract idea. It is a clear policy that you have not been able to clearly answer whether you support or not. And you change in the passing week with the wind. So there you go. Bernie Sanders, only person who has been consistent on Medicare for All. Only person running for president in 2020 who has been consistent and has been steadfast and has been solid on Medicare for All with no exceptions. Bernie Sanders is the only one. So let's move on to some other news. So we'll do this. This was shared by Thomas. And I'll give a full disclaimer here. I have not been following this incredibly closely. So I'm going to give my 2 cents on it as somebody who is not an expert on this topic, not pretending to be. But here's something that's going on. Massachusetts temporarily banning sale of vaping products. So the governor of Massachusetts declared a public health emergency Tuesday, ordered a 4-month ban on the sale of vaping products in the state, apparently the first in its nation. His announcements came amid growing concern about the health effects of vaping products, including death. So, all right. So the administration said as of Tuesday, 61 cases of potential cases of lung disease related to the use of e-cigs and vaping in Massachusetts has been reported to the state. So when I first heard about the vaping thing in general, I kind of thought, oh, wow, this is a big issue right now with everything else going on. Glad the Trump administration's focusing on important things like vaping. And a lot of folks have brought into light, look, you compare this with what goes on with cigarette deaths, it's a drop in the bucket in comparison. So I've seen some of those stats floating out there. So really, this is another thing where, yeah, this isn't healthy for you, but people do it. People have the right to do it. What are you going to do? Why are you scapegoating vaping all of a sudden? That being said, vaping is still very new. I'm okay with further research being done on how dangerous it may or may not be. I'm okay with that. It's still something very new. And it's one of those things, well, maybe we don't know all the implications of it yet. I mean, back in the day, they used to smoke cigarettes in hospitals because no one knew, exactly how toxic cigarettes are, and cigarettes are very toxic. They also relieve stress for a lot of people. They also keep a lot of people in check, and it is an addicting product. But it might mellow your nerves, it might soothe your nerves, and you got the right to make that choice. You know the implications of it. You're going to do it anyway. That's your choice. That's your right. I think vaping, kind of the same area. Now, am I okay with further research being done on how dangerous this may or may not be? I'm okay with that. Maybe there's some stuff we're not realizing yet. Maybe there's some connections we haven't made yet. But could this also just be a scapegoating, nonsensical thing that's going on? Yeah, it could totally be that. This could totally just be a way to further demonize pot. Because they lump marijuana products in there too. Marijuana products. That's what they refer to it as. They lump this in there too. So this could just be scapegoating the pot industry, a subtle way to further continue the drug war. This could be nothing more than that. Do I know that for sure at this moment in time? I don't know that for sure in this moment in time. But, we'll keep an eye on it. We will keep an eye on it. So, Thomas, thank you for sharing that. And I know that other entities have been kind of demonizing the vaping industry as well. Is it justified? Is it not? I think it's too soon to tell. There's definitely reasons to think that maybe it is justified, or excuse me, that it isn't justified, and this is just a scapegoating attack on, parroting the drug war, carrying water for the failed drug war. But there's also some reasons to think, well, maybe we still, vaping's still very new. Maybe there is still some implications. I think energy drinks, like those energy drinks, which, by the way, you never see those being demonized, at least not to this degree. But I think, I don't have any science to back this up, so I think there's shit in there that we're not aware of how dangerous that stuff is. I really do. And this is coming from someone who used to drink them religiously. I went through a process where I weaned myself off of them. And full disclaimer, I still occasionally will have a Red Bull, although I finally think I've been able to quit once and for all. And I'll give a shout out to my dear friend and one of my favorite comedians and actors in the world, Rick Overton. Rick, one day we were at a show. I think it was my show, which, by the way, LA folks, Ron Placone and Friends is tonight. If you're not doing anything, email me. I'll put you on the guest list. How's that sound? Does that sound good? Good. But anyway, we were at a club together, a comedy club. And Rick sees me drinking a Red Bull, and he was giving me this look like he gave me this look like I just I just executed an animal in front of him. Like he gave me this look like I just strangled a puppy and then started eating the raw puppy in front of him. That's like how he was looking at me. And I was just like, Rick, I know it's bad, but I need a pick me up, man. And he's like, those are really bad. And I'm like, I know. I don't even think we know how bad they are, but I'm having one. What are you going to do? I need to pick me up. Rick handed me a ginseng patch, and he said, why don't you try this instead? I put it in my bag, didn't think much of it. I was already 75% through the Red Bull. That was my pick me up. I wasn't going to stop. But the following week, I was kind of in the same situation, driving to a comedy club, wanted a little boost. And I was like, I guess I'm going to get a Red Bull again. And then I remembered the patch Rick gave me. And I was like, you know what? Let's try this. I tried it, loved it, started buying ginseng patches online. It's just straight up ginseng. You put it on your patch. It's good for your muscles. It's good for your energy. It gave me a lot of energy. And pretty sure it only has this effects on guys, because my fiance tried them and it didn't quite have this effect on her. Or at least she didn't say it did. But guys, makes you really horny. That is one side effect. You get like crazy horny from these things. So maybe that's something you want. Maybe you're like, I'm horny enough as it is. Whatever. I'm just saying that's one of the things it does do to me. But I use these ginseng patches all the time now. And I've not had an energy drink since. I take them on the road with me. They're just these little patches. They're good for like a day. And then you just kind of peel them off. Peel them off before you get in the shower. I made that mistake before. Anyway. So my point is that, you know, maybe there's some room for, maybe there's some things we don't know yet. You know, it's not like this is pot. It's not like I'm pulling a Chelsea Clinton here, where it's just like, we need more research on pot. No. We've had tons for years and years and years. There's no evidence other than propaganda films saying that pot is some gateway drug or dangerous. That's nonsense that's been debunked many times over. Vaping, still a little new. Still a little new in comparison. So yeah, maybe there are some effects we're not realizing yet, or maybe this is all just scapegoating nonsense. Time will tell. So I'm leaning towards scapegoating nonsense. Just so, you know, I'm saying like, maybe there are some things we don't know yet. I'm open to that. But I'm leaning towards this is just scapegoating nonsense as a subtle way to kind of attack pot. That's what I'm leaning towards. But I'm open to, you get the idea. All right. This is breaking news. This is breaking news that, who shared this one? Edwin shared, which, by the way, guys, we're fixing up the Reddit. I said yesterday that I was banned on Reddit, and I don't, or not banned, but I was suspended on Reddit. I don't know why. And I responded to them, and I was like, I don't know why you suspended me. I looked I looked, and I'm just like, okay, I posted about my tour dates. People asked me questions about the shows. I responded to them. I did an AMA. I responded, which, by the way, I'm not good at using Reddit. I think I actually, when I got reinstated, which I'm pretty sure I'm reinstated, but I'm not totally sure. I'm not good at Reddit. Not good at Reddit. So if you did send me something on Reddit and I didn't like reply to you the way I should, it's probably because I didn't see it. So I apologize for that. And I am slowly learning Reddit. I will eventually respond. I did an AMA on the Way of the Burn subreddit months ago. I'm still responding to some people because it wasn't like in real time. Like they posted something not in real time, so they posted it after the fact. And yeah, so I'm doing my best. All right. But I think I'm back on Reddit. I don't know why I was suspended. Yeah. So anyway, I'm working on that. And come Monday, we will be pulling stuff from the Reddit like we always have been. And I apologize for the 2-day hiatus from the Reddit, but I was suspended for some reason. And I wanted to kind of get that sorted out before I go back to the subreddit. The weird thing was I could still see stuff. Like I could still click articles, but I was like, but I'm suspended, so I couldn't interact at all. Yeah. All right. Breaking news out of New York. Let's get to this. And Joe, my editor, I'm sorry. I'm very rambly today. It is making your life more difficult, and I apologize. Setting it up again. We got some breaking news out of New York, and it looks like this is actually kind of good news. Cuomo green lights extended voter registration deadline. All right, so Governor Andrew Cuomo, who usually doesn't do cool stuff, signed legislation Thursday, that's today, as of the recording of this, giving voters more time to change their party enrollment ahead of next year's primary elections. The new law scraps the previous October 11th deadline, giving voters until February 14th to switch parties and still vote in the state's primary elections in April and June. The bill, passed by the state legislature in June, sat unsigned for months, leading Bernie Sanders' campaign team to urge Cuomo to approve the legislation last week. You know why? Because Bernie Sanders has unlikely voters. He has independents. He has people who are disgruntled by the status quo. And those are the people Bernie connects with. And you know who needs to connect with, and anyone who wants to be president in 2020 needs to connect with those people. You know who does connect with those people? Bernie Sanders. You know who doesn't? Joe Biden, Liz Warren, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg. They don't. So anyway, Cuomo's going to extend that. So that's breaking news. So you have until February 14th. So, I mean, you could register your loved one for Valentine's Day. I think that's really what they're getting at. I think Andrew Cuomo, he made a deal with the card industry. I'm messing around there, by the way. Someone's going to tweet that like, Ron can't just say that he did something right here. He always has to find some kind of incentive. He's claiming that Andrew Cuomo made a deal with the card industry, the holiday greeting card industry. So they're going to have a new line say, hey, you're registered, baby. Which I don't think you can't just register someone else anyway. But it's like you go together, you have a car for it. We're doing our civic duty and we're in love. Ron's claiming that. He's not backing it up with any evidence. Why can't he just say that Cuomo did something right? In this particular, for instance, this is a good thing. Why can't he say that? Ron's trying to find some hidden agenda because he doesn't like Andrew Cuomo or his younger brother, Fredo. Anyway, tweet that out later. So yeah, this is a good thing. Voter registration extended to Valentine's Day. You and your loved one can vote to try to get... to try to have our FDR moment, which if we don't have that, we're going to have Trump again. So there you go. All right. So speaking of which, yesterday on the show, and I got this from Joy Marie, who has a lovely show called Savage Joy on the Real Progressives. Check it out. I recommend it. I've been on it a bunch of times because Joy and I have lefty politics in common, and we have punk rock in common. And when you have those two things are common, it's fun to talk to each other, right? I like doing Joy's show, and I've had her on Get Your News On with Ron as well. But anyway, that brings me to the song of the day. Mensingers is the artist of the day. Check out the Mensingers. My new friend Adam turned me on to the Mensingers. I don't know how I've missed the party on them, but I have. It's Menzingers. Really fun. It's kind of like poppy, power pop, punk rock music, but they got kind of a creative tinge on it. Really cool stuff. I don't know how I've missed them this long. Adam is a new friend of mine because his wife is very good friends with my fiance. So, we were all hanging out and they were catching up like old friends do. And we found out that we're both really big Alkaline Trio fans. Like pretty big Alkaline Trio fans. And Alkaline Trio is the kind of band where they have a very loyal, dedicated following. There's a lot of, even back in the day when I was in middle school and high school, it was kind of like, oh, are you a fan of a lot of pop-punk music? And you would name some of the bands you like. But then the next level up was, are you an Alkaline Trio fan? Are you into Alkaline Trio? And that was like the big, like if you're a Trio fan, hell yeah. So Adam and I were both, in our 30s now, but still digging on the Alkaline Trio a bunch. So we had a fun moment talking like teenagers about music from our youth that we still love to this day. And Alkaline Trio is still putting out great albums to this day. Their latest effort is This Thing Curse, phenomenal album. So we started talking music, started sharing music, and I think our siggos liked that. I think they were just like, oh, they're look at them. We can just send them off in the corner somewhere to do this while we do our thing. And we don't have to try to include them in the conversation. They can just do their own thing, which we were like, yeah, we will do our own thing. You're talking about Rosé now. We're going to move on to other things. And we did. We went up and we played Mario Kart 3, which I was really bad at. I don't own a video game system. I'm not used to the Wii controllers. So I was really bad. Well, he just like beat everything. And I was like, hey, man, whatever. And we laughed about it. So anyway, he turned me on to the Mensingers. Don't know how I missed the party on them, but check out the Mensingers. That's the song of the day. Menzingers. Just check them out. Whatever speaks to you. Check them out on YouTube. Check them out on Spotify, Pandora, whatever it is you're going to do. And getting back to the news here, we're talking about Bernie Sanders a little bit. Here's something. Oh, Lucy, I know you like Bernie. You want me to let people know. You want me to let people know. She's like, mention that I like that dude. Mention that he likes cats, and I mentioned that I kind of want that bird's thunder. She's like, why can't you? I want to be on a podium. I want to have my moment. Why did that bird get a moment? Well, because the bird can fly, Lucy. Yeah, but I would hunt that bird. That's what I do. I'm a cat. Yeah, I get it, Lucy. But you don't get to hunt because you live. You're an indoor cat. You're an indoor cat. And get your food provided to you. She's like, but I could still do it. I'm not doubting your skill. I'm not doubting you. So we're talking about Bernie Sanders. My cat Lucy has things to say about it. But Bernie Sanders, we talked about that poll in Iowa that came out where they were like, oh yeah, Liz Warren's crushing it. And everybody forgot Bernie Sanders in Iowa, despite the fact he has the most individuals supporting him, despite the fact he has drawn the biggest crowds and has done the most in that state. For some reason, well, here's something else. And check out what's really fun about this article, and we're going to love some of the visuals here. It really is in many ways symbolic of everything that's going on in our politics right now. Okay, so check this out. I'll explain why. Bernie Sanders, 99 endorsements in 99 counties. All right, so check this. Let me go over here. Bernie Sanders. Now, here's what's great. Check out all the advertisements. Before we get into this, check out all the ads in this. First of all, people to get Medicare-For-All who want it, which, by the way, wouldn't work, and that's more nonsense. Then you have an advertisement for Amazon. Bernie has a Stop Bezos Act. There's an advertisement for Amazon. Here's an advertisement for Pete Buttigieg. And here's an advertisement for John Delaney, the guy who the only reason he is still in the race is so he can keep people from getting health care. That's the only, John Delaney, his sole purpose is to keep people from getting healthcare. Why? Because he has $3 million invested in the healthcare industry. For all the money he's wasted on his campaign, he could have just reinvested that money in something else. By the way, he has $24 million. He's still going to be rich no matter what. He could have just reinvested that $3 million somewhere else. But because he is that greedy and short-sighted because of his greed, he still is inexplicably in the race, humiliating himself on a daily basis. He has spent millions and millions of dollars. He cannot get a decent ratio on his Twitter account. Anyway, so here's the article. A key to any successful Iowa caucus campaign. By the way, Bernie Sanders, 99 endorsements in 99 counties. You want a broad base of support distributed throughout the state's 99 counties. To that end, Bernie Sanders released a list of 99 notable progressive leader endorsements. So here you have an article where Bernie Sanders has 99 different progressives who got more involved with the political process because of him, and he has their individual endorsements. Meanwhile, you have these corporate approved candidates paying to be on the same article. That should tell you something. That's poetic. That's a snapshot of what our politics are. Here you got one guy, 99 endorsements from individuals. Why do they endorse him? Because of his policy ideas. Because he stands for the policies that they know will make our country better. Does that mean Bernie Sanders is perfect? Of course not. Has Bernie Sanders ticked me off before? Yes, and he'll do it again. He'll get stuff wrong. But he supports policies that connect with people. He stands for those policies. And so people who also stand for those policies are getting more involved. And here he has endorsements from those people. Meanwhile, you have Pete Buttigieg and John Delaney and Amazon paying to appear on the same article. One's real and one's fake, folks. That's poetry right there. That's what that is. Now, Christina shares this, and this will be our last story of the day. Christina shares this, and this is from AOC. We're not going to listen to this whole thing because it's very long, but AOC has released a new project, is what she refers to it as, a project. So let's take a look. AOC says, big day, we're rolling out our next major project, A Just Society. It's a 6-piece suite. Recognizing Poverty Act, Place to Prosper Act, Mercy to Reentry Act, Embrace Act, Uplift Our Workers Act, ratify the UN Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights. Those all sound like good things. So here, let's watch some of this.
18.5 million Americans are living in extreme poverty, which is measured as less than $2 a day.
18.5 million. By the way, you know what our poverty rate should be? It should be in the negative. There's no reason we should have any poverty level. There's no reason we should have a poverty level in the world, really. When it comes to food, we don't have a production problem. We have a distribution problem. Although with climate change, eventually we might have a production problem. We're working on that. If we keep doing nothing on climate change, we'll get there, baby. But right now, it's a distribution issue, not a production issue. So AOC is addressing poverty, which is good. You don't hear a lot of people talk about that often. Let's see what else.
That's why I'm so
Let's
Society to me would be
so
a just society.
all right, now small critique here. AOC is using the same microphone that I use, and she's not positioning it right. That's not, I mean, depending on what setting she has it on there, that's not the right position. Big game changer here, folks. I mean, that is not, how are you, AOC? I don't think that's the right placement of this microphone. I'm pretty sure my tech guy, Joe, Joe's my editor, but I'm pretty sure that's not right. Depending on what setting she has the mic at. I don't know what you're doing there, AOC, but this is huge. This is huge. I support a policy, correct mic placement for all. Come on now. Got to do it. All right. Let's look into a little more of this. See what else. All right. So just society. What's that?
A just society is a place where everyone has a place to sleep, food to eat, and access to education.
a just society to me would be better housing, better job opportunities, freedom to transform.
Entonces, creo que si habla
The second piece of legislation is called the Place to Prosper Act, which creates a national access to counsel fund for all renters in America who are currently facing eviction. It also imposes a national cap of 3% on annual rent increases and begins to pursue.
So it's basically national rent control. I mean, this is basically in many ways rent control. Mercy and Reentry Act. Basically, this is a call for rent control, which is a huge thing, and it begins to pursue penalties on abusive and predatory landlords. So again, this is just a project right now. We'll see. You know, there's still a lot of details to unfold here, but basically, this is an initiative or an idea to catch us up to a lot of other countries in the world. I mean, this sounds like stuff that already exists in Denmark and Sweden and Norway and to an extent England and Scotland, where renters have rights, real rights, where there is rent control, where there are protections. I mean, you know, if you remember from our interview with David Rovics, the type of real estate industry that we have here, that's outlawed in other places. Denmark, you can't do that in Denmark. You can't do what our landlords can do here. We talked about that in detail in my interview with David Rovics, the anarchist singer-songwriter. I recommend checking it out. This is a call for addressing poverty. This is a call for, you know, and Bernie Sanders also has a Housing for All Act out there. So, you know, again, this is still in its infancy, so it's tough to really do a thorough assessment one way or another right now. We're not going to watch the entire video, but it looks like these are some good ideas, some genuine ideas that are kind of going to catch us up to other democratic experiments. And that's a good thing. We'll watch the details unfold. All right, let me see what you guys are saying to end the show today. Let me just which, by the way, shout out to our sponsors, et.com, zhitea.com. Their tea, it kind of rules. Oops, I just did something I didn't want to do. Boom. All right. Yeah, there we go. That's perfect. All right, cool. Let me go to this and see what y'all are saying. How have I never... Hey, what is my accent, by the way? Chompy Thief says, how have I never noticed Ron's accent before? You do not mean this accent, because I did not do this accent. So what accent are you referring to? I'm curious. What accent do I have? I probably have a bit of a Pennsylvania accent, although I really make an effort to not have it. So And Sandra gives Sweden a shout out too when we were naming those other countries. DCK Punk, thank you for the super chat contribution. I always think about albuterol atomizers and all of the children it gave lung cancer. Interesting. I'm not super familiar with that, DCK Punk. I'll have to look into it. But thank you for sharing that. I'm assuming that was sort of in reference to when we were having the vaping conversation, which again, I'm not an expert on the vaping thing. I don't claim to be. So I'm expressing my openness that maybe, maybe there is some more to it, or maybe it's just a scapegoating thing. But yeah, I think you're referencing something where we didn't realize the health effects of a certain thing, and then we found it out later. So yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Guys, tour dates, I got them. Ronplacone.com, Australia, we're coming. Get your tickets now. November, we're coming. Australia, Ronplacone.com, we're coming to Perth, we're coming to Sydney, we're coming to Melbourne, we're coming to Adelaide. Don't wait. Get your tickets now. Australia, I can't wait to see you. I'll see you in November. LA folks, what are you doing tonight? Ron Placone and Friends is happening 9:30 p.m. at Flappers Comedy Club. If you email me right now and you're in LA, you email me, or if you're not in LA and you can get here before 9:30 p.m., email me, say you want on the guest list. I'll put you on the guest list. How about that? How's that for awesome? It's going to be a fantastic show tonight. We got Bill Devlin. We got Murray Valeriano. We got who else is on tonight's show? Raja Michael is on the show. Trevor Cavallo is on the show. Fantastic lineup. Jamie Kilstein's on the show. Great lineup. Ronplacone.com for more info. And if you email me, go to ronplacone.com and email me. I'll put you on the guest list. How's that sound? Other dates in the LA area. December 13th, we're going to be at Ventura Harbor Comedy Club. That's myself and Graham Elwood. December 14th, we're going to be in LA at the Dojo of Comedy at Sycamore Tavern, because we are previewing our 2020 tour. We're going to be touring extensively at 2020. We're both going to be doing 45 minutes of stand-up. We might be doing some game show stuff. It's going to be real exciting. But in December, we're going to do some kind of debut shows to get ready for our 2020 dates. So LA folks, please check those out. Ronplacone.com for those tickets. And speaking of 2020, we got a lot of tour dates. Some of the tickets are available right now, like Tucson, Arizona on February 8th. Tickets are available. Grab them now. March 12th in Orlando, Florida. Tickets are available now. Grab them. April 24th in Seattle, Washington. Tickets are available now. April 25th in Portland, Oregon. Tickets are available now. That's myself and Graham Elwood on the Progressive Comedy Tour. Ronplacone.com for all those tickets. Yeah, get the drill. If you want to support the show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content. You get my album. You get a patrons only stream once a week, which is going to be tomorrow, Friday. So you can join now. Check out the patrons only stream where I respond to the patrons directly. We do a stream. Lucy dialogues are there. All kind of stand-up clips not available to the public. You get the idea. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. Thank you guys for another amazing week. I will see some of you on the patron stream on Friday. And I will see the rest of you on Monday for a Music Monday. We're going to have a fun Music Monday, by the way. I already got some stuff planned for it, so I'm excited for that. In the meantime, have an amazing weekend. Thank you for tuning in. This is Get Your News On With Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show, which means it literally could not exist without you. It would not exist without you. You make this show. Thank you to our contributors today, Christina, Edwin, Thomas, Hoot Hoot, Joy. Thank you guys very much. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Peace.